In every city and town, life moves quickly, filled with voices and activity. Yet, hidden beneath the surface, there are people whose struggles go unnoticed. Among the hardest struggles is economic isolation. It is more than lacking money, it is the feeling of being cut off from relationships, from opportunities, and sometimes even from dignity. It can show up in quiet ways: the invitations that stop coming, the phone calls that are never returned, the uncomfortable silence when others do not know what to say. For those experiencing it, the weight is heavy and deeply personal. Still, within this reality, there is hope. The story we share today is not only about hardship, but about the presence of God, who sees those the world overlooks and offers belonging when others turn away. A man sits quietly in a small cafe. His clothes are worn, his shoes scuffed. He used to come here with friends, but now he comes alone. Outside, familiar faces pass by. They glance in, notice him, but do not stop. Perhaps they remember the times he once paid for meals, or how easy it was to gather when he could contribute more. But now his wallet is nearly empty, and so is the company around him. As he stirs his coffee, he feels the sting of being forgotten. The ache is not just about the lack of money, it is the distance that grows between himself and others. Even in this moment of loneliness, however, he is not invisible to God. The Creator of all still sees him, and his worth has not changed. Across town, a woman scrolls through her phone. She dials another number, her voice polite and hopeful. Each call ends the same way. "I'm sorry, the position has already been filled." Or, "We'll keep your information on file." She sets the phone down, takes a breath, and dials again. The pile of resumes on the table seems heavier each day. Bills stack up beside them. She whispers softly to herself, "Maybe tomorrow will be different." Tomorrow comes, and the cycle repeats. Woman: "Yes, I understand. Thank you for your time." Narrator: another rejection. The silence after each call feels louder than the words spoken. What she longs for is not only income, but dignity, a place to belong. Each unanswered call becomes another reminder of distance. Yet, even as the world measures her by productivity or wealth, God values her as His beloved child. Her worth does not change with her circumstances. The reality of economic hardship is not hidden in the Bible. It acknowledges the pain directly. Poverty can bring rejection, and isolation can feel like exile. Friends may drift away. Family may grow distant, opportunities may vanish. Yet God does not ignore this pain. Instead, He names it. He records it. By doing so, He tells us that He sees what others do not. For those who feel forgotten, this is an anchor of hope. Their struggle is not invisible. Their story matters, and their pain is never dismissed. But the story does not end with isolation. Hope begins to rise. Scripture tells us that God places the lonely into families. This is a beautiful picture of restoration. Where isolation cuts people off, God provides connection. Where abandonment leaves scars, God offers healing. He is described as a father to the fatherless, a defender of the vulnerable, the one who lifts those who are weighed down and gives them a place of belonging. While poverty may exclude people from the tables of society, God sets a greater table and calls them to sit. In His presence, dignity is restored, and no one is unseen. Imagine a church hall on a weeknight. The smell of fresh bread fills the air. Volunteers arrange tables, set out plates, and prepare warm meals. The man from the cafe enters slowly, unsure if he should stay. At first, he feels like a stranger. But then, someone greets him with a smile. Another offers him a seat. Soon, conversation begins. For the first time in weeks, he feels welcome. It is not because of what he brings, but because of who he is. This is a glimpse of the hope God offers: a place to belong, a community where no one is left out, and love that is not measured by wealth. Economic isolation is often misunderstood. It is not only about lacking resources, it is about lacking welcome. It shows up in the silence when others avoid eye contact, in the absence of invitations, and in the despair of feeling forgotten. Into this reality, Jesus came with a mission. He announced good news for the poor, hope for the broken, and belonging for the lonely. He did not only speak comforting words, he lived them out. He sat with those whom society ignored, touched those whom others rejected, and gave dignity to those who had none. His kingdom begins with those the world pushes aside, and in His presence, no one is forgotten. A child looks up during a community meal. Child, Dad, who are all these people at the table? Father, they're our family too. God brings us together. Narrator: in that simple answer, truth is revealed. God's family is not built on wealth or status. It is a family created by grace, bound by love, and open to all who come. The message of hope reshapes reality. Where economic isolation builds walls, compassion builds bridges. Where rejection closes doors, new beginnings appear. In faith, outsiders become insiders, strangers become friends, and those who were forgotten are welcomed. This is more than comfort, it is transformation. To those who feel cut off, hope says you belong. To those who feel unseen, it says you are known. To those who feel unworthy, it says you are valued. In this truth, no one stands alone. If today you feel unseen, remember this: your life matters. If you feel forgotten, know this: you are not alone. Economic isolation may be part of your story, but it is not the end. Even in the quiet corners of loneliness, there is a voice that whispers, "You belong." That voice is stronger than rejection, deeper than poverty, and truer than despair. It is the voice of God, reminding you that hope is never out of reach. And this hope is the kind that no isolation can erase.